Her guardian angel wears a jogging suit. Southern hospitality meets Myrtle Beach area hospitality. What are we talking about? You'll find out coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Myrtle Beach Herald. We're focused on the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association, and we're visiting with its executive director, Katherine Jenerette. Good morning, Katherine.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming in. Did you have a good Easter?
Oh, it was wonderful. The kids had a great time.
Oh yeah, the Easter egg bunny. They
Right.
made a good effort out there.
Definitely.
That's a great Easter's such a great time of the year. All the time leading up to it, it's amazing.
It is. It is.
It really is amazing. Well, how's the new helm here at the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association?
It's moving full steam ahead, and we're looking at new things to accomplish this year, and of course incorporating some of the older projects that we've always done, such as helping out with the sled during the Bikers Week and Job Expo that had just finished up last week. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in this position.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Y'all are getting ready for the big Hospitality Day at the end of April.
That's right. It's the 27th of April, and it'll be on a Wednesday. And what we do is have restaurants actually cook for the legislators from different areas of the state, and we go up and let the legislators know what's important to the hospitality industry.
Right.
And that's our day to let them know, and certainly with a full force of people in the hotel and restaurant industry going up on the Hill, that lets them know that we're here and we make the economy go.
Absolutely. Well, we want to talk more about that in a few minutes, but real quick about yourself. Are you originally from the area?
No, my father was in the military, and so I'm what people call a military brat. And I grew up in the military, and my husband's family is all from here, and that's kind of why I'm here, is because his family is from here. And but I call North Myrtle Beach home. It's the longest place I've ever lived in one place my entire life. So, and it's my children's home, so it's home to me.
How long is the longest time? 5 years, 10 years?
Well, I would say Newport News. I lived in Newport News, Virginia, and I kind of went to school there, some grade school, and then went to Germany, and then came back and graduated from high school, then again in Newport News. And but like I said, North Myrtle Beach is the longest I've stayed in any one place.
Oh yeah, I mean, how long have you been in North Myrtle Beach?
Well, since 1991.
Since 91, so
yes.
A good bit more than a decade.
Right.
That's great.
So I'm thrilled to. I love North Myrtle Beach, and I love South Carolina, and I couldn't be happier to be here.
Oh yeah, and you said you had that's where your kids call home.
Right.
How many children do y'all have?
I have 4.
4.
Right.
Wow, Katherine.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's right. This new position is executive director of the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association. So you're obviously out a good bit and pounding it out. That's why. Thanks for taking the time to be with us at 7 a.m. That's a big deal. I'm sure your husband's slaving around the house today. That's right.
Right. He has the job of dropping them all off this morning.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. It's a big morning for him. Golly. What about, of course, the excitement for you, having been in the area for a little more than a decade now and seeing the area grow? How's the North Myrtle Beach doing these days? Of course, you know the bulk of our viewers are in the PD and southeastern North Carolina. So less than a third of our viewers are here in Horry County. What's it like up in the North Myrtle Beach area? It
is dramatically changed since I have moved here in 1991, and we seem to have jumped the waterway with Barefoot Landing Resort, and we're excited about some new development possibly expanding on the other side of the waterway, and maybe Little River Neck Road maybe someday may be incorporated into our city, and also portions of Highway 9 will be incorporated into our city. So it's really expanding a lot, and which helps keep our taxes down. So
yes,
we're happy about that. I'm also on the Planning Commission, so it's real fun to see the growth from that seat. Yeah. And not only as a citizen, but also on the Planning Commission.
How long have you been on the Planning Commission?
I've been on there for a few weeks, about 2 months now.
Okay, great.
So it's new, and I appreciate the ability to be on there. Marilyn Hatley, the mayor there in North Myrtle Beach, gave me the opportunity to be on the Planning Commission,
Sure.
as well as Greg Duckworth, and I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, for viewers who are not familiar with planning commissions in their own communities, wherever they're from, what exactly do you all do?
Well, the Planning Commission reviews actually permits, and not permits, but people come to the Planning Commission for various number of things. For example, a property owner may have a walkway, a city walkway, on
Right.
their property, and they may want that walkway moved from their property so that they can fully develop the rest of the property. They might
Sure.
come in and ask for the city to move that. We're just a sounding board for the city council.
Okay.
And we kind of review those type of things like PUDs and moving of walkways or abandonments of property that the city owns, and we make recommendations to the city council.
Okay, great. Well, that's fascinating. I'm sure that'll be a nice service. I think I saw recently, Catherine, you were recognized as the Veteran of the Week in a local paper. What,
In the Myrtle Beach Herald.
in the
as a
Myrtle
matter of
Beach
fact.
Herald.
That's
I
right.
like that paper. That's right. What years had you served in the military, and what branch were you in?
I served from 1988 till 1991, and I was in the U.S. Army,
In the Army.
and I served full time, and I was stationed in Germany, and then they sent our unit, the 3rd Armored Division, to Desert Storm.
Is that right? You were in Desert Storm. Wow. What was that like?
Dirty.
Yeah.
It was pretty dirty. It was scary at times. There were times when we thought we were under Scud attack and various other attacks. So
Yeah.
it was scary, but I'd do it again.
Have you ever fired a machine gun?
Yes, I have.
Really? What's that like?
Well, actually, I fired a machine gun not in combat, but I did fire a machine gun in training, and it's a lot of power. It's
kind of not.
it's a good feeling, but it's in the right place. It needs to be done in the right place at the right time.
Right, not out of the farm.
No,
but,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, that must be amazing. And of course, the service for you, the highlight of that 3 years in the Army. Had you always grown up thinking, I want to be in the Army, or?
No, like I said, my father had been in the service.
Right.
And growing up in the service, that's kind of all I really knew.
Uh-huh.
And at the time, I really didn't think I'd want to go to college, so I went the military route instead. And then after coming out of the military is when I pursued my college degree.
Uh-huh.
And I think that was better for me. Some people need the discipline of being in the real life
Right.
before they actually sit down and take college as seriously as they should.
Sure. I think I saw that you had you majored in what in college?
History.
In history. I think I saw at one point you had taught some American history locally.
Right, at Southeastern Community College, and also
Okay.
at Horry Georgetown Tech. I taught as adjunct faculty.
Great. American history.
That's correct. And I teach, right now I'm teaching African American history and American history online this semester.
For one of the local
For
schools, or?
Southeastern Community College in Whiteville.
Is that right? That's
That's right.
wonderful. Of course, a goodly number of our viewers are in Columbus County and in Brunswick
Right.
County, so a lot of folks have the opportunity either to see you in class or, of course, online.
Right.
What's that like, teaching a class online?
I think it's a fabulous idea, and it couldn't come soon enough for busy people. I mean, anymore, half the women are out in the workforce. If they're not, in the workforce full time, they're in there part time.
Right.
They have children. The husband's too busy working on the job, and anymore the jobs require additional education. And if you don't have the college, then you start at the college. If you have college, then they want you to get your master's degree. So that gives busy people an opportunity to pursue furthering their education. So I think it's a fantastic deal for both the college and the professor and the student.
Yeah.
If done right.
These are master's level classes or undergraduate
They're
classes?
undergrad.
Okay.
Mhm.
You said African American history, and
Well, just 2 classes this semester.
just those two, right?
Yes.
How are you able to do all that, Catherine?
In my bedroom slippers?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So you're doing this before work in the morning, or after the kids are down?
Actually,
Or,
after
yeah,
when
over the
I get
weekends?
home and over
Yeah.
the weekends, the internet class is geared to pretty much be self-sufficient for the student, and with the exception of some exams and the term paper.
Right.
You know, it's pretty it's student driven, and so I'm just there as pretty much a facilitator and to guide them in discussion and to make sure that they get their things in.
Okay. If a viewer needed to get off to school now or get out to work, what's a good number to call to learn a little bit more about the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association? Obviously, we want to focus on that in just a second, but what's a good number to call to learn about the Hospitality Association? Or do you all take calls from everyone? Or
Oh, sure.
Okay.
626-9668.
Okay, 843-626-9668.
That's correct.
And do you all have a website?
We do. It's myrtlebeachhospitality.org.
Okay.
And I would believe it comes under mbhospitality.org.
mbhospitality.org.
Right.
Okay. Of course, that 626-9668 number's been the same number you all have had for years.
For years, that's right.
Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association's been around how long?
30 years.
Is that right?
That's correct. And initially it was for the hotels and restaurants, and it was initially supposed to be a legislative voice for the hospitality industry. They didn't feel that they were getting heard in the government, local, state, and federal, levels, and so that they put together an association that would come together to actually be a legislative voice to say, we don't like that kind of legislation, it's going to hurt our business, or we like that legislation and we want to push for that kind of legislation for our industry.
Right.
And we've kind of gotten away from that a little bit over the years, and I feel as the new CEO we need to bring that back into perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be a real challenge for me, is to actually do that. And I'll be working closely with the state Hospitality Association. Tom Sponsner heads that up, and I'll be working closely with him. He's on the ground in Columbia 5 days a week, so it's easier to work with him and through him because he's on the ground.
Sure.
To know what's going on, and we will just push the issues that we think are important to our industry.
In dealing with the government, of course, you've had a lot of access to the folks in Columbia, but as well, recently, over the last few years, access to our representatives in Washington, D.C., and your position is, I believe, a field representative for Congressman Henry Brown, the 1st District Congressman, who was in town last week for the opening of the VA, or the expansion of the VA here on the former Air Force Base.
And I got to see him there. And
did you really?
Yes. Henry is just a tremendous asset to Horry County. We're so glad to have him as a congressman.
Absolutely.
And he has not forgotten us. We haven't become the redheaded stepchild of the 1st Congressional District, that's for sure.
That's great. He was on the front page of the Herald last week, a good big picture of him giving an award 62 years later to a gentleman, Mr. Herter, or Captain Herter. And then he was on the back page of Section B. I mean, Henry's all over the place.
He is. He's. You never know where he's going to pop up at.
Listen to that. So, golly.
And he works hard for us. Don't get me wrong. He does. Not only does he show up here, but he also works very hard in Washington for his district. He's securing funds for the I-73, making the VA clinic, as you mentioned, a reality for a lot of the veterans. So we're very fortunate to have him.
The Republican workhorse.
Yes.
Yes. Did you travel to Columbia to Washington to ever see him?
No, actually, I stayed here in the office. That's why I was hired, is to make sure that his presence was known throughout the Grand Strand when he was not here.
Sure.
And through Georgetown as well. And we wanted to make sure that his flag was being waved wherever there was a meeting. We wanted to make sure he was in attendance.
I think Representative Vyers also worked for Congressman Brown some. Who's in law school now in Columbia.
Seems all the field reps, actually leave Henry's office as a mentoring thing, and then get their wings and want to, run for office.
Run for office. That's exciting. Yeah,
That's
Thad's doing some exciting things up there, and really getting out there about education and other things that he gets active in.
Right.
And of course, you recently thought about and ran for office,
yes,
barely unsuccessful, but how was that experience, Katherine?
Oh, it's awesome. I love the campaign, and I love people, and you really do have to love people in order to run a successful campaign. I think if you're just in there to grandstand and go up and make a name for yourself, you're not going to be as successful if you don't have your heart into the right place. But I enjoyed it. I enjoy getting out, meeting the people, and actually talking to them about their needs, because our district that I ran in is very complex, because you have Marlboro, Dillon,
Yeah, a lot of our viewers
Marion,
are in, absolutely.
in Horry County,
Sure.
and they all have different needs, and that is a very diversified district, and so I learned a lot along the way as well.
Right. You had to travel up and down the state line a good bit, up through the parts of Marion and
Yes.
Dillon and Marlboro County,
That's
to
correct.
really learn, get to know those folks well. What was that like, traveling into areas that I guess you wouldn't normally travel into, to find the needs of those citizens?
Well, going back to my military experience, it gave me the confidence to actually be able to do some of those things. I don't think ordinarily, if I had not gone into the military, I wouldn't have the confidence, number one, to run for office, and number two, to actually strike out on my own and go and meet and greet with people that I've never met before. So my background gave me a well-rounded launching pad.
Yes, that sure would have. That sure would have. Of course, as we think about, now, y'all have got, as we said a second ago, the big hospitality day coming up on April 27th.
Right.
That ties into, again, your big push that you were talking about a few minutes ago, of really
Right.
focusing on Columbia to help remind them, obviously, about the beach, driving the train
That's
for the
right.
state. When we think about that, will you help break that down for viewers to understand exactly what I saw that in a letter recently you sent out to Hospitality Association members about, making sure that they understand the needs of the Grand Strand or the Myrtle Beach area.
Right.
Break down how Myrtle Beach or the Horry, Georgetown County areas really help drive the train for the rest of the state.
Well, we actually are an economic powerhouse here on the Grand Strand. We bring in billions of dollars into the state, and as the textile industry has gone up and dried up and went away, they're no longer the key players in making the pot of gold up there in Columbia in the General Assembly. Actually, we're doing that. We're growing legs every day in that direction, and sometimes, the legislators from the other side of the state don't know how important we are, and bringing it to them and showing them how important we are, maybe that sometimes is what is needed. And that's what we are going to do on legislation days, let them know, the hotel industry, the restaurant industry, and all of our allied members. And our allied members are directly or indirectly impacted by hotels and restaurants here on the Grand Strand, and that's why we call them allied members. The whole entity of the Grand Strand is tourist driven, and that's where we're really making our money in this state right now is tourism. And so we've got to let Columbia know that laws that they pass or fail to pass has a direct impact on us, and we want to be instrumental in directing their path on what laws that we need and what we don't need.
What are some examples of things that you all do to help represent the hotels and restaurants? And obviously, I know you're learning a heck of a lot in this new position as executive director, as
Fast and
chief
furious.
executive officer
Right.
of the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association. I'm glad you pointed out it's been around right at 3 decades now. So a
That's
heck of
right.
a lot that's happened within the association. When you think about some of the things that some of the ways that y'all can lobby, how do y'all go about representing the hotels and the restaurants and the allied members in
Right.
Columbia or in our nation's capital, for that matter?
Well, we have to be careful about that lobby word.
Oh, forgive me. Yes.
No, that's
Well,
okay.
yes, that's right. I'm
we
glad
want to
you
be
said
an
that.
advocate of
That's right.
what we want. Certainly, none of us are registered as lobbyists, but we
Right.
certainly want to let people know what we want. For example, the mini bottle issue.
Yes.
We pulled together and had an ad campaign through the restaurant and hotel and allied members. We pulled together and did a really big, and through the chamber too as well,
Right.
and pulled together an ad campaign to do away with them. And now that they're done away with, we really have to worry about the wording of the legislation that's going through on the free pour laws, because they can either lock you into a corner where you have no maneuver room, or they can lock you in another corner where you have no competition. So really, that's our focus right now, is to actually oversee what the wording is and how that plays out and what the details are in those new laws that can affect us. Primarily, we've asked that they include have a a competitive market where the package A and the Class A and the Class B stores are as equal on equal footing to be able to compete. In capitalistic society, that's the only way it should be. And also, in that, there's a lot of mention about delivery of bottles, but there's no mention of pickup of bottles. So we would like to see that as well, especially here at the beach. Small mom and pops, bars and restaurants don't have the storage capacity to keep a lot of the large liquor bottles. So, the mini bottle was perfect for them. But for them to go over to large bottles, maybe they need to be able to pick up rather than store it on their own property or have it delivered. So there's a lot of issues like that are could be affected just by going up and telling the senators, this is what our industry would like to see.
Right.
And sometimes they listen and sometimes they don't, but it's worth the try.
Sure. Golly, and that is a big effort to make sure that some of those basic critical avenues, and I know you mentioned that they're done away with. I mean, there's still an opportunity for folks to utilize many bottles. Is that right?
Right, exactly. Yes.
They'll be able to use both.
Right.
Okay.
They'll be able to, they'll have the choice. But those are some of the things on the table. I know that after there was a great fire in Greenville in one of the hotels, and the sprinkler system became an issue. And they wanted to actually put an 8.5 by 11 signage in front of your hotel that basically says, we do not have a sprinkler system. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to stay in a hotel that had a sign that said that. That just would scare me away. Until we can grandfather clause sprinklers into the system, I think it would be fair, to have some signage, but the wording had to be different.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't want to scare our hotel guests away, certainly, and we did want to let them know we do have fire extinguishers.
Right,
we do have other things to take care of that problem, but so we had to talk with the legislators and get them to kind of downplay and make that a little bit more low-key.
Well, that is very important. A, to have that person on the ground, as you said, Tom Sponseller, there in Columbia, as well as having the folks in. Now, are there other similar hospitality associations throughout the state, in the Low Country, or in the Upstate, or the Midlands?
There's the Charleston Greater Area Hospitality Association, and then there's the Hilton Head Hospitality Association.
Right.
So there's a variety of them, and most of them are chapters that fall under the state. And we're unique in that we're not a chapter. We're our own identity.
Right, yes.
We're our own individual association. So
that's great, yes. Have you been able to talk to your predecessors some who held this position for a little
Martha
while?
Hunt
Have you and Martha gotten to know each other well? Yeah.
And she says, here's my cell phone number. You call me anytime you need me.
Right, good.
And anything you need, just give me a holler. So.
And you called her?
Yes, I've called her on several occasions.
Good.
I definitely have. And she's been most helpful. And I'm glad for that.
I'm sure she has, and I'm sure that's a good working relationship. How does the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association differ in its effort than the Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce in representing so many? I mean, there's quite a bit of overlap of members in the Chamber and the Hospitality Association.
And I say that's a good thing because, more bang for your buck, so to speak.
Right.
This is a big advertising town, so, it's better to have two entities out there pushing you as a product than just one.
All of my business are in both. Absolutely.
Right.
It's very smart.
So, we do a few things similar, like networking and having monthly functions and things of that nature and holding seminars. But I guess what makes us different is that, again, going back to our roots, that we are primarily focused on the restaurant and hotel industry. It is our primary focus, and then of course our allied members, like I said, are impacted or indirectly or directly by the Hotel and Restaurant Association, but they're our main focus, and so that's where the difference lies, is that our focus is more on that. And we had a tendency in the past to be more legislatively active than we are now currently, but that will change under me, and we'll turn that corner. And I think that's where the difference was in the chamber. The chamber was not as active in the legislative matters. And because they are so diverse in their businesses, they weren't able to be. The chamber's not able to address some issues that we can address.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It gets kind of sticky.
Katherine, what about that aspect of loving people and the bug of representing people? We got to wrap, but that have you figured out that recognition of representing people, whether in Columbia or Washington or locally in North Myrtle Beach, is a bug that's grabbed you and helped you maybe even think about running for office again in the future?
You never know. You never know. It's wide open. I might love this job so much in 4 years, I might not leave it.
Oh, absolutely.
And there's always that possibility that somebody might say, Catherine, you need to really run in this race. I love politics, and I love this position. Allows me to do all things.
Right.
It allows me to still stay in the public eye. It allows me to help the constituents, if you will.
Absolutely.
And it also gives me the ability to be in the politics that I love, too.
That's great. Catherine, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Katherine Jenerette coming up next. Think about a group that tries to represent all those aspects to benefit area hotels, restaurants, and so many allied members, and they come from all types. So many different businesses that are recognized by the Myrtle Beach Area Hospitality Association. Give them a call to learn more about the association, 843-626-9668, or you can visit them online at mbhospitality.org. Take the time to visit the site.